Hello and welcome to Writing Today. My name is Matthew Dewey, and in this episode I'm going to be reviewing the Bedlam Stacks by Natasha Pulley. As always, if you want to read this blog post, I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. The Bedlam Stacks by Natasha Pulley is the story of a botanist and ex-East India Company smuggler, Merrick Tremaine, going into uncharted Peru to take illegal cuttings of the cinchona trees. The bark from these trees yields quinine, the only known cure for malaria. What starts as an expedition to steal these plant samples leads to the discovery of something far greater. Here is my spoiler-free review of the Bedlam Stacks. First, a short summary of what the story is about. Merrick Tremaine is asked to join an expedition into uncharted Peru with Clements Markham. These two are tasked by the East India Company with finding cinchona trees, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. They are charged with taking cuttings to start the production of quinine. Once more, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Quinine being the only known cure for malaria at the time. What starts as an illegal mission that will jeopardize Peru's monopoly on quinine becomes something much more important. Merrick meets Raphael, a local priest who guides Merrick on his expedition and introduces a bizarre culture filled with fantastic oddities that make the experience that much more magical. While taking cinchona cuttings is still the core of Merrick's mission, he discovers that there is much more behind this interesting culture, and Raphael is at the center of this wondrous mystery. And now for the characters. Merrick Tremaine is of course the protagonist. Merrick starts the story off as a despondent man dealing with a leg injury. He feels he has lost a lot of what he once was, so when the chance for an expedition arises, he fearfully hesitates before he is talked into it. Merrick is mostly friendly with other characters and keeps to himself most of the time. He approaches most situations critically and thinks thoroughly before acting. Second, we have Clements Markham. Clements, or Clem, as he is referred to throughout the story, is all too eager to go on such an expedition and plays a major role in the story, from being Merrick's partner on the expedition to providing a different perspective on the culture and the people they encounter. Clem is old-fashioned in his approach to things, although quite knowledgeable as well. He's quite happy to call the shots, speak his mind, and act impulsively when the opportunity presents itself. He is much like Merrick's opposite in that he speaks and does while Merrick listens and waits. Last but certainly not least, we have Raphael. Raphael is Bedlam's priest, performing an important role in the community as well as in the jungle. While he acts as the guide for Merrick and Clem, his role in the story is far greater. Raphael is strong, secretive, and a lot more at home than either Merrick or Clem. He provides a lot of information on the culture, although not happily. Despite this aggressive demeanor around Merrick and Clem at the start, he later shows a kinder, more complex side of his personality. Of all the characters in the Bedlam Stacks, Raphael is certainly the most interesting to read. Now there are many other characters I can talk about, from Martel, who puts Raphael in charge of guiding Merrick and Clem, to Singh, who starts the whole expedition. However, these characters don't appear nearly as much as the main three I've talked about. Now let's talk about the writing style. Natasha Pulley uses flowery language and lengthy descriptions to paint each scene with fantastic detail. While descriptive writing is not my favorite style, I found it the ideal style for this fairly slow-paced novel. The story lingers more on creating a wondrous world and complex characters. The plot itself takes its time to progress, making it a much more relaxed read than your average character-centric adventure story. And now for my personal thoughts on the Bedlam Stacks. These are purely based on my own tastes and not on any professional observations. To start with, of all the books I've read recently, the Bedlam Stacks has to be one of my favorites. While it doesn't quite fit into any of my favorite genres or styles, it went on to impress me with each chapter. From the characters to the surreal imagery, I found myself enjoying the way the story progressed and the way the world developed. In the beginning, it had me going with elements of storytelling that I usually find in general fiction, but then it quickly established itself as something unique. Now, it's very easy to write a unique story, be it by stepping into the bizarre and unpredictable, or being struck by an idea thanks to one's brilliant imagination. It's a different story entirely to take that idea and make something great of it. Natasha Pulley did just that with Bedlam stacks. Now to conclude, shortly after reading the Bedlam stacks, I read another book which I saw was highly reviewed and a bestseller on the Amazon bookstore, The Midnight Library, which turned out to be pretty rubbish. It also burned that the book was criminally overpriced for its length and quality. I wondered to myself how a poorly written book gets so many positive reviews while a genuinely good book has only a 50th of the total number of reviews. The answer is simple. That's the book market today. You don't need to write a good book if you have enough followers. Luckily, that doesn't stop books like the Bedlam stacks from being published. I happily recommend the Bedlam stacks by Natasha Pulley to readers who are interested in a unique adventure, well-developed characters, and great writing. And that brings us to the end of this book review. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to check out this review or any of my other work, you can find it all on my website, thepennedsleuth.com. I'll leave a direct link to it in the description below. Thank you for listening, and as always, good day, good night, and happy reading.